You're listening to the Roommate Casting Couch.
Bye.
I'm Chase Gentleman.
I'm Josh Parrish.
And,
monkeys in the zoo are being mistreated. We should go and help them.
I mean, I don't really think we can say that live.
Bye.
You want to talk about space?
You want to talk about space? We can talk about space.
I like space.
I think that space is pretty fucking neat.
Yeah. Well, okay. Well, so from what I understand, I've been in the, okay, I don't know where to start.
It all started
one time in band camp. No, but I guess like I was gonna say like my story to what I'm about to say and the ultimate leading point of it, I guess. But it's like I almost got interested off of science and like the internet and learning a lot of science on the internet and not like reading it from like books per se.
Yeah.
You know, like it's much like I don't. The scientists and like our fucking institutions, like they publish shit, and like you can go read it. But even better, there's people that like reading that shit and then purveying that stuff, and you get like professors and stuff, and they have podcasts. They have a shit ton of them, and if you really are interested, like, and you develop an understanding of the shit they're saying and the ideas that they convey, because they're humans and they talk just like us, and like you can hear this shit, and it really piqued my interest. So when Flat Earth, because like I've done my time in conspiracy theories and like the fucking holes and stuff, and like there's things that well, if you haven't at this point, oh boy.
Yeah,
like I feel like you have to go through it, and then you really have to decide like.
At the same time, like the flat Earth theory is at like a really pivotal point right now.
Well, and that's where I was getting to, is that like I personally like the thing that held me to flat Earth theory was like the gravity, and I was like, well, like gravity, like I believe just gravity and shit just falling together and making a sphere in this space, and where there's no density other than matter. But recently, for what I understand, gravity is more so an illusion, or like a simplification of what's really going on, right? So
kind of an all-encompassing term to what happens with
the phenomena, yeah,
and
yes,
because that's what the big argument is.
Well, because Einstein, when he talked about gravity, he pulled out like sheet as a flat plane, and he like a cloth per se, and you put something in the middle and it creates that well.
Yeah.
And that well is like what we would call like that gravity, and how you get an object and it rolls around in it and stuff, right?
But that could also be explained as density.
Yeah, and that's because matter in itself just bends space. So everything of matter, like that's made up of, well, I guess matter, and it has a density, like it's bending space around it. It has its own gravitational pull. Although, like, if certain bodies are, like, small, like, it has a very, 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 like, almost incalculable small amount of... it's calculable. That's fucking wrong. That was wrong to say. But
in the layman's sense, like, it's not like... It's not like you can just look at something and put a fucking number on it.
Yeah. But there is something there.
Yeah.
And so matter itself, it just does this as the universe like expands, and then we have like the gases, which is just a certain collection, just the type of collection that the arrangement of matter, molecules, blah 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 is in, right? Like your gas, your solids, and your let's get plasma.
Yeah,
gas, water, liquid, solid, whatever.
Gas, liquid, and solid, yeah.
Whatever. All right, sorry.
But then with the liquid, too, you have, like, hydrophilic and hydrophobic, like, properties that kind of defy what that idea of gravity would be.
Yeah, and, like, superconductors and electric and, like, magnets and...
I think water is such an interesting one because, like... So I mean, in the theory of gravity, even a single water molecule would have a gravitational pull.
Oh, yeah.
And
But that's what we were talking about is the illusion. So when the collection of atoms in space on that fabric do get together, then the properties of density take over. Because
Yeah.
at the center of density, like, just shit's on fire. It's too fucking hot. Everything melts. But when we have no density, like we look at our rocket ships that are flying through space, and space is hot as shit. But shit doesn't melt. And that's because there's no density out there,
That's
right?
true. Well, you're essentially in a vacuum.
Yes, exactly. So it's just...
You are in a vacuum in space. Not even essentially.
Yeah.
You are in quite literally what the truest definition of a vacuum is.
And the more atmosphere, the more shit we have in the atmosphere too. Like the more density there's going to be, and the more like protection essentially we have from the vacuum of space.
Yeah,
which is our whole atmosphere.
Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I think that at least me personally, my kind of introduction to flat Earth theory happened about like 4 years ago. Like a true introduction to flat Earth theory. And I found it, I mean, I personally am not a flat earther.
Yeah. I was Earth shape agnostic at one point.
At one point, I was definitely Earth shape agnostic.
Yeah.
But I am not a flat earther. But I mean, there really is some like interesting science out there.
There's some there's some good arguments. Make some good arguments, but I don't want to say that there's good science out there about it. But there are weird phenomena surrounding the subject where you look into it, and that's where you get into even deeper other conspiracies about like the world elite. Come and get us,
people.
come and get us, lizards, come
get us, lizards. We're right here.
Yeah.
I mean, I almost just completely fucking doxed our address. I was going to be like, oh yeah, come and get us at. I almost doxed our look. You know what? Fuck it.
I don't care. Like, yeah. Well, I mean, like, if they really want to know, like, it's not that hard. It's fucking 2020. Everything's on the internet. Just know what you're doing there, and trust me, it's a fucking beautiful world.
I could give out the shop address and just have people mail.
We should
in
make a PO,
shit.
a PO box.
We should get a PO box. I think that's a good idea. And people could send us their human feces
and their shoe bomb
and their shoe bombs.
Oh, look, new Yeezys.
That would totally be me. I would open up the mail. I'd be like, who the fuck sent me Yeezys? I'd be like, whatever. Thanks, bro. And I'd open the box and just be like, well, now I don't have a fucking head.
Today started out real good. And it went south.
Today started out really good, and now I am the epitome of a traditional Halloween story. Yeah. Halloween this year was a bit interesting.
Oh, yeah. We sat out last night and we tried to pass on the tradition of when I was a kid and enjoyed getting candy from strangers.
Yeah.
Safely, mind you, like most of the time it's safe.
I moved at the perfect time. When I moved to New River, I moved at the perfect time because I moved from like a very dense neighborhood in California to being 13, almost 14 years old and moving to the middle of nowhere. So I was around that age that I kind of stopped trick-or-treating at anyways.
Yeah.
So when I moved to the middle of nowhere, it was like I was kind of over the trick-or-treating thing anyway. But now that, we live here in a, I would say our neighborhood's a pretty like tight-knit.
Yeah, well, I like our neighborhood. Like
all of our neighbors are friendly. Everybody will wave if you wave at them, and like for example, the guy across the street yesterday came over and talked to us for a while.
They make eye contact.
Yeah, it's not like everybody keeps to themselves, which me personally, I find that a really big deal. Mainly because I had been in New River for so long and had just been away from people. And the only social interaction I had was when I came to this area for school.
Yeah.
And then, sitting out on the driveway last night, handing out candy and like seeing like little kids get all fucking excited over trick-or-treating.
They're super cool. Well, and it's really nice, like when the kids that did come around, like, because there was a lack of kids, honestly. Like it's not wasn't as poppin' as it usually is. But the kids that did come around, they were super sweet, and they were good kids. Like we had a bucket full of candy, and the children that did come by only wanted to take like one piece, and then we were like, no, and then grab more, and they're,
that was kind of an interesting topic that you brought up last night. Is like kids are the least greedy people until you tell them they can be greedy.
Well, it's like if they're raised right, I guess, and a lack.
Like, well, it's funny to me that
it's like you gotta watch it. You gotta watch that natural, almost like gimme. Yeah. And you gotta keep that like tamed. But when somebody says like go ahead and you get the green light, like fuck it.
Especially when it's an adult, because I picture like you and I were both raised really well. And I think that when I was a kid, I would have been the same way. I was the kind of kid that when I was a kid, before I started being a hooligan, I used to be a really well-mannered fucking proper kid. And then I stared acting out.
Yeah.
And then we started doing things like fucking podcasting.
Yeah.
But, when I was a kid, I was extremely well-mannered. I was the kind of kid that if I was trick-or-treating and there was a bowl of candy that said take one, I would have only taken one. Because I just had that discipline as a child. But if it was the scenario that when we were out on the driveway last night handing out candy and telling kids to take as much as they want, yeah, I would definitely be taking a fucking handful of candy.
Yeah. See, I was actually the opposite. Like, that desire, for the most part, I was just like, don't get me wrong. If somebody was like, take more, I'd be like, all right, cool. But I wouldn't be like, whoa,
Yeah.
Like, I still, like, once that boundary of the authority around me gave me the green light, I still held myself accountable to a certain extent.
I did in social settings.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
While others, like, where you really get a true number on that person's self-regulation, and like I would go for a couple more pieces, maybe I'd be a little particular on the pieces of candy I grabbed.
Yeah.
So
you'd grab some more of the ones that you actually wanted instead of just grabbing a handful.
Yeah.
I was that way for a long time. When I was a child, I was very outgoing in the sense that actually one of my mom's favorite stories of me was on my first day of kindergarten in California, because I had started kindergarten at a different school, and then we moved to the Bay Area, and I started the Bay Area. I'm from the fucking Bay. But we moved to the Bay, and Jesus fucking Christ. When we moved...
Whoa, you can't say that.
Oh, yeah.
I've been really good about not saying his name in vain.
I'm
not even quote per se religious. Like I'm not a good Christian.
And I'm actually starting to identify as a Christian more and more every day, which is really interesting to me.
It's getting brighter in here.
Oh my God. Yeah. He heard me call his name.
Yeah. Well, it depends. Interpretations goes a long way.
So I guess what I should clarify. Okay, hold on. Let me finish up the kindergarten.
Yeah, go ahead.
And then we'll get over to this.
We're talking. How long are we in? Where's the fucking timer?
14 minutes in.
Okay, cool.
When I was one of my mom's favorite stories of me when I was a child was when we started at the new kindergarten. My mom actually walked me out to the playground, like you remember before school recess.
Yeah.
So she walked me out to the playground. And,
congregation of kids, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the congregation of children. So she walked me out to the playground, and I sit down on this bench, and there's a kid to the left of me and a kid to the right of me. And I turn to the kid to the right of me, and I'm like, hey, I'm Chase. Nice to meet you. What's your name? And the kid just fucking looks at me and doesn't say anything. So I turn to the kid to the left of me, and I go, hi, I'm Chase. Nice to meet you. What's your name? And the kid looks at me and he's like, oh, hi, I'm Luke. And then him and I became friends. But that was one of the things that when I was a child, my mother always praised me on, was the ability to make friends.
Yeah.
And I'm still a very outgoing person.
Yeah.
I'm very outspoken.
Well, you're likable.
I wouldn't go that far.
No, you're likable. You're likable.
I would say I'm personable. Like,
Well-
if I'm not going off the deep end talking about weird shit, one of the compliments that I get most is that I'm very well spoken.
Yeah. Well, communication, like we talked about this earlier today as well, it's a very, very, very important skill. Wow. As in butchering. Ironic.
Communication. Good skill.
Yeah. Carrot. Can we pull that up? Can we actually?
Yeah.
You need to pull that up and recite that for me.
Yeah.
But no, that was something my grandpa said to me about communication, and it can take you in a lot of places and almost take you anywhere as long as you can convey your ideas properly and whatnot and stuff and talk well, I suppose.
I think that's a very good skill to have in life.
Well,
is being able to express yourself in a proper manner.
Well, and that's what I'm saying about being, when I said you're likable. And that's because when you want somebody to like you, because you, I believe, are a very conscious person, that you...
I would like to think so.
I mean, I would agree, too, yeah. Like, how else are we going to, like...
sit here for an hour and
unless
talk
we're
to
just
each
being...
other.
Well, yeah, and being... exactly. But also being in an echo chamber, per se, like, but I mean...
Yeah, that's true.
Back
to the carrot thing here really quickly.
No, don't even... Just say it.
Never assume in life. Don't think that carrot big because carrot big leaf, because small leaf carrot big, not leaf big size.
Yes, exactly. See, now if you don't think about it, it makes sense because about like but that's an example, and the comedy in it is that the English is trash. It conveys the idea, but it's shitty. It takes way too long. You put too much fat in that, and like there's sustenance. Sure, but it's
just fucking poorly written.
Yeah.
But it's a really good life lesson.
It is. It is. That's what I'm saying. Like, there's a good virtue in there. Like, if you see through the shit, but like, we don't need to be putting in shit. Like, we don't need to be doing that. Like when we talk and stuff. Like it's like, say what you mean and mean what you say.
Yeah. Well, and the meaning definitely gets across with that.
Yeah. And yeah. Like, and there's times, but like you go be social, where communication, like, and if you want to use it to make friends, use it to make friends. And you, as a conscious person, have the ability to choose whether or not you're going to be using your language to make friends or not, right?
Yeah. I find one of the things for me personally, though, with making friends is, I have a tough time making... It's not that I have a tough time making friends now. I have a tough time venturing out of, like, what I'm comfortable in. Like, in the aspect of... like, we hang out with, like, the same 10 people or 15 people, essentially, all the time. And I have trouble venturing out of there, mainly because, one, I don't drink anymore, so I don't meet people at the bar. And that was kind of my go-to for a while, was how I would meet people, is I would go to the bar alone and I would talk with random people. But if you throw me in like an immersive setting where like I'm forced to be around, like say there's like 30 different people and I'm forced to be around them, I'm going to make best friends with at least a few of them.
Well, and that's what I was saying. So it depends on the time frame, because you used a really relatively new example.
Mm-hmm.
But like as overall, you have a skill that you have developed of communication.
Yeah.
And that skill is going to last much longer than the last couple months. And like there's a lot that you can, that's going to come and hit you your way, but I don't think you're going to lose that skill of communication.
Yeah, I don't
like
think so.
You've done like a certain amount of time of like conscientiously thinking about what you're saying and like your thoughts yourself, that you've now refined it and you can now convey those much easier. You've trimmed off the fat yourself. You've done the work yourself with your right.
And yeah, that too. Also, you and I are both in the line of work where we need to communicate to have things effectively done right.
Yeah.
And that's kind of, I think for both of us, that is really great for us because it forces us to have communication with people that we wouldn't normally have communication with.
Yeah.
Which I think is a benefit for anyone.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, but there's something special about us millennials. Like, well, yeah, it'd be us millennials. Like, we grew up with the internet and like social media and stuff. Like, we're very savvy to it. I'm not saying that it's exclusive to millennials or anything, but like, we're just very savvy with it. Like, we're quicker to use it. We're more inclined. Like it.
Yeah, I mean, the first computer that I ever got. Well, I take that back. So we had a home computer.
Yeah.
For a while that I was able to use. I would go on AOL and fucking chat with random people, and then I got a MySpace, and then I would chat with random people on MySpace, which is one of those things. Like I remember, like when we were younger, like one of the big things was like, don't talk to strangers on the internet, which is funny because a lot of my best friends I met over the internet and haven't met in real life.
Yeah. Well, and I think there's the opposite that's true too. Like I've met a lot of people like from the internet that have become good friends, you know, and the internet keeps me in touch with friends that have.
Yeah,
like
I think that for me too, since I've lived in so many different places and I travel a lot. The internet's awesome for me because I get to stay in and I understand the idea of giving up social media. For me, that's kind of an unrealistic thing, though, just because of how many people I am connected with across the globe.
Well, just like everything else, social media is a tool.
Yeah, and it needs to be utilized.
It's up for us as humans to use it consciously and responsibly. And and make sure, like, you know, like we can, like, sure, we need like it's the town square aspect that like it's missing in today's world where like, you know, things were discussed and shit like that. Like it's very important.
And what we have on top of that as well is in the same aspect of that Times Square, you know, fucking city hall or city, you know, the center of the town, whatever. Where it used to be, if somebody had a fucking idea that they wanted to get across everybody, they would literally stand on a soapbox. And now I go through my Facebook timeline and everybody, not everybody, but a lot of people feel entitled to stand on their soapbox on social media.
Well, when everybody's standing on a soapbox, nobody's
standing on a soapbox in that regard.
Except if we want to fucking comment fucking social media and like, well, not social media, but these fucking tech giants, you motherfuckers. I think, like
well, I work for one.
Yeah. Right? Well, no, but I mean like more particularly like Google.
Yeah,
the social
group of the big
YouTube
ones.
And just censoring, and it doesn't like regardless of party lines and all that shit. Like that's not a conspiracy. Like that's legit conspiracy, and because it's a group of people fucking censoring just information that they don't want out, like regardless if it's harmful or bad. Like I do agree that there is some kind of moral obligation to make sure they uphold like the law, but if it doesn't break any law, I don't see why it shouldn't.
And see,
it's not up for the corporations to decide.
Yeah, and one of the corporations that I think actually had the right idea, it was poorly executed for a long time, but I think had the right idea was Twitter.
Well,
where everything actually gets reviewed by a person.
Well, okay, I like to give them more of the benefit of the doubt. Like they're fuckers now. They really are. They're fuckers now.
But originally when it came to community guidelines,
well, it was relatively before it really got real big for whatever reason, and people group up in these little herds.
Yeah.
Like, and because it's not all of YouTube. It's not all of Google. It's not all of Twitter.
Yeah.
You know, I don't believe that, but I believe like there's just.
And I don't genuinely believe that Google in itself as an entity is entirely evil.
No, nor do I. Like it's like, but the utility it provided and like the tool, like was vastly like strong.
Yeah.
You know, but it got to the point of like where okay, we need some regulation here.
Yeah, when I realized that I wasn't entirely anti-corporation is when I started utilizing Amazon a lot. Because like, I mean, really the convenience is there.
Oh my, yeah. It's so.
It's
Remember when it was just buying books? You were like, "Ooh, what do you fucking
you're like,
do?"
oh, cool, fucking book.
Yeah, now you buy your food, you buy everything. Like,
You can buy anything.
it's a fantastic tool. It really is.
Well, in that, and a few years back, where they started allowing third-party sellers to advertise their stuff on Amazon as well. So you're not only getting shit from the Amazon warehouse, you're getting shit from all of
Yeah.
these third-party sellers. Where I think that because eBay, when eBay was like becoming a new thing, it was fucking revolutionary.
Yeah.
And what was revolutionary about it is you could buy the same item from 100 different sellers. And I think that was like a huge appeal to me, was going through and looking at the condition of different items, or like looking at like, like price comparison.
You had very vast prices too. Like,
Yeah.
there wasn't necessarily like eBay wasn't. There wasn't like a regulation of it almost. It was just whatever.
It was an unregulated market. It was whatever you thought was fair for your item is what you would price it as.
That, and then what? Sometimes you got fucked up gifts, and it built distrust.
Yeah.
And that's the thing where we talk about things like these media platforms. Don't build distrust,
Yeah.
because that's how you're going to create your competition. But then again, that's more capitalism, which I'm all for.
So an example of how Amazon started using third-party sellers and why I like it. One example of that is the tripod that we're actually using to film this. I bought from Amazon.
Yep.
And it was from a third-party seller.
Yeah.
And they had, what I liked about it is the card that came in the box with the tripod wasn't saying rate the seller 5 stars or whatever. It wasn't saying that. They offered, if you rated your transaction and the delivery and quality of your product, no matter what the rating was, they'll send you another free product. Not at the same one. It's like a lot, like just like basically swag for fucking whatever company it is.
Yeah.
But like, they just wanted honest feedback.
Yeah.
Which I thought was fucking cool. I think that's how sellers should be.
Well, and then Amazon, what it really brought together was all of these. It gave the ability for companies to sell their product online with ease in a whole centralized like listing rather than like individual websites, because that too many websites to visit for particular objects.
Too many cooks.
Too many cooks. Holy shit. Let's not talk about that.
Yeah, that's just going to put bad things in my mind. So another interesting thing that happened today is you voted for the first time. I'm not going to go into our choices of who we voted for, but the actual voting experience for your first time, what did you think about it? Did it make you feel American? I mean, I know that you already felt American, but
Well, I'm mixed. I haven't decided quite yet.
it always makes me feel American.
Well,
It makes me feel like I'm doing my civil duty.
I'm thankful that I have the choice and the ability to vote. I'm very thankful for that. Don't get me wrong. But
Yeah.
like again, like I said earlier, there's the distrust.
Yeah.
There really is. And I can't so it's a problem with me and my thinking, but I have a very skeptical mind.
You do.
But like the experience, I hope like it's not just a facade. Like you're not very tight on your bottom, I don't think.
I've heard that once or twice. Oh, that's the wrong way, I think.
Noise feedback.
Sorry for that. All right. This will hold. We're good.
But no, my distrust and like I have a skeptical mind, and I just hope that when I guess like some people will tell you that like it's just it's fake, it doesn't matter or whatever, like but I don't. I choose not to believe that, and that's why I vote. Is like voted is that I still believe it does make a difference.
It does.
Like, and you are voicing your opinion.
Well, and one of my biggest things is, okay, a lot of people's argument against going and voting is the whole electoral college thing. But in the same regard, there's so many other things on the ballot that are directly affected by your vote.
Well, no, if I'm being honest, there was 207.
Yeah. 207 was on the ballot.
Yeah. Well, that needed a yes. Just like I would have voted yes on that alone for just like the whole fucking decriminalization. That knock that shit off. Knock it off, government. You hear us? Knock it off.
I don't even smoke weed anymore, but
no.
That's not what it's about.
No, it's not what it's about.
About ending a fucking war on drugs.
I think that's a very good thing. Like, and
if we could be bringing additional tax revenue into this,
if we had honest conversation about like these topics,
yeah,
and not talk through all the like bullshit, like I'm sure a lot of people would be like, oh,
yeah,
like I don't, but whatever.
We're living in a very pivotal time.
Yeah, we are.
And one thing that I'm excited to see in the next couple of years is just really seeing how we come together as a society. Whoa.
As a nation,
yeah.
I think that is one of the most important things that has been on my mind lately. Is that community and like just and like in humanity really.
I think that's a really big thing. Is like the concept behind humanity is just like, or I guess like the public perceived definition of humanity has changed just drastically since probably the last 4 or 5 decades,
Well, and then we have to talk about just America, and again, back to voting kind of stuff, and how this country, like, it's very unique. We're such a baby.
We are.
And we run this shit. We run the world. Like, we really do. And that's where my conspiracy mind comes into play, is that, like, I do believe there are players out there that want to take us down, and we have to watch it.
Yeah. So I would agree. I think that...
And they know the only way they're going to take us down is if we do it from within. Which is why we need to come together as Americans.
And that's why people are fucking... Not mass public people, but there's people that are fucking scared because we have the ability to come together.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like that's been taught to us as kids. Like, when we come together, like, anything's possible. And, like, put your mind to it, like, you could do it and stuff. And, like... Yeah. I don't know. Like, and that stuff, like, to me, like, that's, like, the American dream. It's, like, life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness and bullshit like that. Like, well, not bullshit like that, but, like, stuff like that.
Not bullshit like that, but yeah.
Definitely, like, in the human rights, the Constitution, like, they're all there for special reasons. They look electoral college. They're there for reasons that I believe if you don't agree with them, for reasons you don't understand. Like, you need to do your research on that if you disagree with them, because I believe that's more of a thing. Like, it's a fundamental thing. Like, population vote, like, we get it, but this is a republic. Like, we have democratic things, but the United States of America is a republic, and we're all states. Remember, there's not a whole lot of us here in retrospect.
In retrospect, and we're really not.
Yeah, like 380 million out of the 7 billion people on this whole planet. So, and we're spread out over a very vast land. And we make up about 30% of the world's economy. Right? So we as Americans, I think, need to come together and recognize each state, which is bigger than a lot of other countries. And some cities, like our fantastic city of Phoenix, Like the last thing I remember reading was like $12.8 billion a year for our economy here. Like, that's bigger than a lot of other countries.
It is. It's a lot bigger than a lot of.
Like, if we're just looking at it in math,
a good majority of countries.
Yeah, and we have some of the better like colleges and like the Mayo Clinic and like our hospitals and stuff and like.
Yeah, America in general. I mean, our advancements when it comes to healthcare are really unlike a good majority of countries. We have specialized clinics, like you mentioned, the Mayo Center. We have their oncology unit, which is, just worldly ranked as far as oncology goes. We have John Hopkins. We have...
Well, real quick, but before I get but the electoral colleges.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying about the city and the location, and that's going to breed a different type of thinking than other places and stuff. So and we just have to make sure that we're all still like represented as fair as we can.
Yeah.
And that's what the electoral colleges are about.
Yeah, I honestly don't really have that big of an issue with the electoral college because it really it represents demographics fairly.
It does. I think it does. It does a very good job for giving us the closest thing because like you can even break it down by counties and stuff in states, and like those are even different. And like and it's just like you look. There's key factors into stuff. There really are.
So we have a couple of kind of shifting gears here for a moment.
But also America #1 capitalism when you keep that going and stuff.
America number one.
Yeah.
America #1 in all world. We have the best country.
Yes, we do. I believe that. I still believe that.
I do too.
And I'm not ashamed of it. I'm not ashamed to say it.
So we got a couple of write-in questions and topics.
Did we really?
Yeah, we did.
Oh, okay.
I guess we're gonna start with one of the more interesting ones in my mind. Matt Weir from San Diego, California, asked us, this is a question for each of us. How many crayons do you think that you can butt chug?
Butt chug? Are they molten crayons?
Yeah, I'm going to say that these are melted down.
Am I gonna?
We can give him a call and ask what the parameters
are. Repeat the question. Am I gonna butt chug?
No.
Or can I?
Can you? Let's give him a call and kind of see what the logistics of this question.
Let's read the question.
How many crayons can you butt chug?
How many crayons can I butt chug?
How many crayons can you butt chug?
Okay, like if I had to. Melted down 64 pack sounds about.
Do you think you could butt chug a 64 pack of Crayolas?
Well, I mean, your anal cavity would be huge. Like, and if I had to, or like,
yeah,
could you? Like, I mean, I don't know what.
I think this is just like a physical endurance test.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm strong-minded, so like, if they had to keep shoving the crayons in, like, go for it. I'll go until it bursts. Like it's all just physical until my DNA can't hold together.
Okay, yeah.
Because I think you can do 128 pack.
I think 128. I think that's a pretty fair assumption for how many crayons I can butt chug. Melted down
before like your anal cavity just blows up.
Yeah, I think 124.
You got a strong one.
Do have a pretty strong anal cavity. Thanks, Josh.
Yeah, anytime.
The next topic. All right, so there you go, Matt. The answers are 64 for Josh, 124 for me.
128.
128. Yeah, I could fit in. If I could fit 124, I could obviously fit the extra 4 in to make it 128. Crayons aren't that
Why
big.
stop at 128 then?
Why stop at 128? I'm going 256.
Woo!
Our next topic comes in.
Or topic.
This one's a topic.
All right, cool.
This one's a topic. Comes in from Audrey Rondeau from Phoenix.
Way to dox.
Azarona. Oh, well, they're the ones sending in the questions. So if they don't want to be on the podcast, they can sue us. Or just stop sending in questions. So Audrey,
Oh, this is also one party state.
that's very true.
But whatever.
Audrey from Phoenix wants us to touch on the Heaven's Gate cult.
Oh, wow.
So I thought that was a pretty good topic.
I feel like that should be a whole nother podcast, though. If we
Yeah.
want to talk about... Well, I mean...
So,
Well,
I mean, yeah, that's going to...
If we wanted to talk about, like, the whole instance and the, like, surroundings of it, or is it more so of our opinion of, like, cults in general?
Yeah. So I personally find cults extremely interesting, and Heaven's Gate is actually one of my...
Human psychology.
Yeah, the human psychology behind cult leaders, the human psychology behind
Followers,
the followers.
everything.
Um,
That stuff's, like, key, like...
So Heaven's Gate is one of my favorites for a couple of different reasons. One, because it's a UFO central cult. The entire cult was based around aliens.
Mm-hmm.
The other reason why I really find it interesting is that it ended in a mass suicide.
Yeah.
So personally, I really find Heaven's Gate interesting. I find small religious groups like that, well, cults, I find them interesting in general.
Yeah, no, they are, and definitely, like, there's a lot, like, I guess the history kind of rhymes with itself kind of idea, or history's doomed to repeat itself
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Or in the words of the band Touche Amore, history reshits itself.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the shit's gonna look a little different, right?
Yeah.
But it's the same shit.
Well, you can take two shits and no shits are
Same
the
shit,
same.
different scoop, yeah.
I don't know what you're doing scooping up your shit, but...
Don't worry about it.
Oh, shit, that's not the dog in the backyard? It's like 3 a.m. You're just in the backyard. You're like, I'm really going to show these guys.
Yeah. But...
Yeah, I think...
But religion and just, like, belief that people have and what it can drive, like, people to do. They'll do fucking crazy things. If
Have
they
you ever
believe
heard-
something too hard.
Have you ever heard the last recorded transmission from Heaven's Gate?
I have, but it's not very
It's,
in the forefront of my mind.
Hillbot brings closure to Heaven's Gate. Our 22 years of classroom here on planet Earth is finally coming to conclusion. Graduation from the human evolutionary level. We're happily prepared to leave this world and go with TI's crew. They were sacrificing themselves to be part of an
Well,
alien sentiment.
tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound? Like,
And
I think-
nobody's around to hear it.
yeah.
What came first? The egg or my mom?
The egg.
That's true. The chicken or the egg, not my mom.
The chicken or the egg? Well, it depends. So apparently, the egg shell itself has some kind of enzyme or protein on it or some shit that is only produced by chickens.
Interesting. I was actually a couple of weeks ago, I was eating a hard-boiled egg. I was eating lunch with my friend Luke, and Luke and I are sitting there. Luke's really big into like botany,
Mm-hmm.
and he's just a wealth of knowledge when it comes to any like fruit or vegetable or anything. And so I figured he would be a good question to ask because this guy Dave and I were talking about like the nutritional value, like what actually has more nutrients in it, the egg white or the yolk. Well, the yolk obviously has the most amount of nutrients in it. Egg whites are better for your heart, but egg yolks is what contains the most nutrition.
Well,
So the
but
question-
but you ask about the cholesterol,
Well, yeah, we were just
right?
talking
Because
about
is that
like,
what's the worst part for your heart? Because that's where that usually
the
comes from, right?
cholesterol. The cholesterol.
Okay, well, cholesterol is kind of a fucking thing that just got shoved off on us by a fucking media thing, dealio. Like,
Well,
it becomes a problem or whatever, but, like, there's more things to read it to it, so...
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, so I don't buy the thing that eggs are bad for your fucking heart.
The question that got brought up, though, to Luke was, do egg shells have any nutrients in them?
Yes, your fingernails have nutrients in them.
Yeah.
Dirt has nutrients in them.
Dirt has a hell of a lot of nutrients in
It's
it.
probably rich in iron.
It probably, yeah. And your fingernails are rich in calcium. You could eat your own teeth.
I mean, if you're really desperate.
If you're, why are we succumbing?
Let's eat this couch. You hungry?
No.
No.
No. Then we don't have a podcast. But yeah, like people eat their fingernails. I would be a liar to say that I haven't eaten a few of my fingernails.
Well, like, I do it, like, when I get real anxious or something. And honestly,
Yeah.
it's like when I'm, like, deep in thought or whatever, if I'm watching something with theater.
Yeah.
Like, the movies, the cinema, I'm like...
Yeah.
Whoa, you know? Like...
So, you gotta check out that movie that Tony and I watched last night.
Yeah, it was good.
It was really good. For
The little bit I saw, I liked.
It was super good. It was, so, Robert Pattinson...
Don't tell me.
No, I'm just telling you the premise. Of the movie.
Okay.
I'm not going to spoil anything. It was Robert Pattinson, and
Now I know who it is. You just spoiled that. Thanks. I like the
You
mystery of not knowing who is in the movie.
there's only 2 people in the
Well,
movie.
Yeah, go ahead. Keep talking about it. It's spoiling more. I didn't know.
If you literally
It could have
read,
been a whole
I'm
lot.
giving you like what the IMDb description would be.
I don't even read that.
You just go into shit blindly.
Yeah, how else better to form my own opinion of it?
That's true. Okay, then what I will tell you is The Lighthouse, or is even telling you the title a bit too much.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, like, the little bit I saw, I liked. Like, it seemed cool.
It's an absurdist film, for sure. But I like absurdist films. There was another one on Netflix that I watched not too long ago. I think it's called I'm Thinking About It. It's called I'm Thinking About Ending Things.
Yeah, I caught some of that with you as well.
Yeah, you came into my room when I was watching it for a little bit.
I think I saw like one whole episode in total.
It's a movie.
Oh,
It's an absurdist. It's an
one.
absurdist film. No, you did come in. It was the boyfriend and the girlfriend that were in the car talking to each other, and they would just had like extremely long monologues that weren't making sense.
Oh, right. I watched like 40 minutes of it.
Yeah, it's a good one. So your question to me about that movie was, so how did things end up working out? And there's no right answer to that.
Right.
There was no ending. It just ended.
Nice. Old Soprano.
Yeah, it kind of was like a Sopranos type. No, it was. So, I mean, it was directed by an absurdist director, as was The Lighthouse.
ABC's of Death, kind of.
It was
like, what the fuck is going on?
The entire film, you're just asking yourself, what is happening?
I like that stuff.
And then you're like, okay, at the end, it's all going to fucking make sense. And then the end comes around, and you just leave with more questions than you could have possibly had in the world than when you started the film.
Mm-hmm. No. Our free sponsorship, free advertising.
Oh yeah.
Oh well, it's not like we're getting paid for this anyway. We're just
This
talking
episode-
into robot dick.
This episode of Roommate Casting Couch is brought to you by Iced Tea. The beverage, not the celebrity.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the most interesting films though that I've seen recently was that Lighthouse film. If you guys haven't seen it, I would highly suggest checking it out. It's on Amazon Prime for free. Or maybe I have some add-on to Amazon Prime. I don't know. I canceled my Hulu subscription.
Did you?
Yeah. kind of unintentionally.
Unintentionally?
Yeah, so I
You get a new-
upgraded. Well, I upgraded my cell phone plan, and my new cell phone plan includes Hulu, Disney Plus, and ESPN. And so I called the fuckers over at Hulu,
Mm-hmm.
and I was like, "Hey, I upgraded to this phone plan. It now includes Hulu. Like, can you guys switch that over for me?" They were like, "Oh yeah, no problem." And then like the lady came back and she was like, "What did you want?" I was like,
What did you want?
"Yeah, I just told you." And then she was like, "Okay, hold on, let me get that taken care of for you." And then she comes back to the phone, says, "Oh yeah, we can't do that." And I was like, "What do you mean?"
Can't do what?
Couldn't switch. Can't do what? She couldn't switch it over
Yeah,
to my
yeah.
included one, and so I was like, "Okay, great." I had just paid my Hulu bill like 2 days prior to that,
Uh-huh.
and I had I had the whole
Like
nine,
the channels, like, and the add-ons, the live TV.
I had the live TV.
Yeah, you have to resubscribe to those now, huh?
Yeah. So
Well, you should also get new free trials.
I will get new free trials for them, because she told me what I have to do is sign up with a different email address and then link that to my Verizon thing. So what really pissed me off, and I pulled a Karen and asked to speak to this lady's supervisor, because I had just paid my Hulu bill like 2 days previous, and I was like, "Okay, yeah, just go ahead and cut off my plan." And she's like, "Okay, well, yeah, October 26th. This was like September 26th or September 28th when I called.
Yeah.
And my plan is on automatic payment for the 26th. And so the 28th I call, it's 2 days after my billing cycle.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, "Yeah, just go ahead and cut it off." They're like, "Okay, well, it's going to remain active until October 26th. And I'm like, "Okay, well, can you just cut it off now and refund me for this month?" She's like, "Oh, well, you've already used it this month."
No.
I was like, "Yeah, I'm going to have
No,
to."
I paid for a month. I haven't used a month, so I haven't used it this month.
So prorate what I...
Yeah.
Prorate 2 days off of it. Divide it by 30.
Yeah.
And then times that by 2 and subtract that from the total cost. It's that easy.
Yeah.
And then just send me money.
Yeah. Like, there's this thing, like, you could go into, like, somebody's fucking wallet
Yeah.
and then take it off your fucking taxes or something. Like,
Yeah. It's
I
that
want
easy.
my, like, fucking $10.
Yeah,
Like,
well, so the thing is I wasn't just paying like $10 for my Hulu.
oh, well, with all the things.
With
yes,
all
yes,
of my
yes,
add-ons,
yes.
I was paying like $84 a month for Hulu.
Well, that's a lot of work for them that they didn't want to do.
Yeah, you would think with how many add-ons and shit that I had, though, that they would want to fucking take care of me.
Yeah. Well, not when there's a lot of you.
There is a lot of me. I have a lot to give.
No, I mean a lot of customers.
Oh, a lot of customers. I was like, "You calling me fat, dude?"
No.
But yeah, so we got that taken care of. I just had to fucking switch the email address, so I'm going to do that probably later today.
But did they give you like a refund though?
They ended up giving me a refund.
Good, yeah.
And
Because you talked to the manager.
So I talked to the manager. He ended up giving me a refund. And then he ended up still keeping my services on until October 26th.
Well, what else is he going to be able to do?
Cut off my services immediately like I originally asked, but I wasn't going to say no to the rest of my services.
Well, yeah. Well, and I mean, like, if they're on there, and I'm sure that's another whole hassle for him anyway.
And I was very logical.
Because it's already just sent on. Like, well,
yeah.
Communication.
Well, and that's where I was very...
How are you going to convey your ideas here?
Yeah, the way that I conveyed it to the manager was like, I was like, "Hey, I really don't need these services anymore." I was like, if you could just cut off my services and refund me for the rest of the month, that would be great. And he was like, "Oh yeah, that's something we can totally do." And I was like, "Yeah, I thought that's something that was."
Like, I don't see why not. Like, why not? Like, why is this not an option? Like,
yeah.
and the people up there in the front, see, they have a little drop down thing, and they're just like, "It's not on the list, can't do it." And then
Yeah.
you have to go, okay, let me talk to somebody who's got a brain.
Well, somebody that has a little more control over the
And
system.
unfortunately, yeah. Or, control over the situation.
Yeah, has better access to their billing systems, has better access to...
More admin.
Yeah, admin privileges.
Yeah.
And so...
Which is problematic.
It is. I mean, just give the customer service reps those privileges, and then like it would have been a 4-minute phone call opposed to a 40-minute phone call.
But that's more expensive.
Well, if these people are getting paid for their time, I'm keeping these people on the phone for way longer than they need to be on the phone.
Well, I don't know. Go talk to the corporate people, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's the thing.
I'm gonna write a letter to the Better Business Bureau.
There you go. That's still a thing, I guess, right?
Bike Muckman.
Bike Muckman.
I talked to him last night.
Yeah, how's he doing?
He was fucking trash.
Good.
Shout out Bike Muckman.
Yeah, shout out Bike Muckman.
He was trash. Tony got to hear a good majority of that conversation. He just kept saying the same things over and over again. He was like, I should go to the graveyard. I was like, I don't think you should go to the graveyard, dude. And he's like, I'm going to go to the forest. I was like, dude, you are trash, and it's like midnight on Halloween.
Yo, side note, though. I want to get abducted by aliens.
I mean, I wouldn't be opposed to it.
Well, it depends. How are those aliens going to come down and fucking communicate to me? Are
I
they going to be
guess-
douchebags? Or are they going to recognize me as like another sentient like being or something?
So I have a pretty firm grasp of like alien etymology, but
What do you mean you have a firm grasp of alien entomology?
not
What
like
the fuck are you talking about, you liar?
so like the ideas behind like different like species of aliens.
There's a bunch of theories.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of different theories. I guess I
But
should
we
have
don't know.
phrased that differently.
We don't know.
But what I was getting at is how I still like to picture aliens in my own mind.
Well, we could talk about some of these ideas, and I'm more than willing to.
Yeah, well, we're going to be wrapping this up here in about 3 minutes. So, but how I like to picture aliens, just for shits and giggles, is like Scary Movie 3 with the like alien that like pisses through his finger.
Yeah. Well, just some other biological, like, they just operate differently.
Yeah.
But,
Like
you know.
how they say hello is like to kick you in the fucking nuts.
No.
That's how I still like. And then Michael Jackson is actually a fucking alien.
Yeah. Well, there's a little tolerance thing, but if they're gonna sit down and talk, like, yeah, cool. But like, if they're taking me against my will, I'm not about that. But if they fucking throw, like, there's a Dan Cook skit.
Yeah,
Old one.
I always forget that he's a
Fucking guy.
existing being.
Dan Cook. He's got a spot in my heart.
Does he really?
Yeah, he fucking. Well, it's just some of his shit was funny, dude.
Some
on.
of his older shit was.
Yeah, well, and that
before he got like stadium big.
what was like the Vicious Cycle? I think was like the last.
That was like 2006 or something.
And that was like the last of the stuff that like when.
Yeah.
Like, and after that, I didn't really listen or follow too much with him. But he had something about fucking a rope ladder and the aliens. Like, it's a good point. It's a good point.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
It's a very good point.
My involvement in the comedy scene is just all poop and butt jokes. Like the people I do comedy with.
Classic.
Dude, fart jokes are funny.
Yeah, it's classic.
Yeah. I will never not laugh if somebody rips ass by me.
I only don't laugh if I smell it before I hear it. That's
That's
the only time I don't laugh. But if I hear it, like, night.
Dude, shout out my boy Jaden. We're fucking sitting together in this fucking class, and he rips ass, and he just looks at me like I didn't hear it. And he fucking rips ass, and then I smell it, and I'm like looking around. I'm like covering my fucking nose, and I'm like, this is fucking bad. And I look over at Jaden to be like, dude, do you fucking smell that? And I look over at Jaden and he's just fucking laughing.
You motherfucker.
I'm like, everybody else is looking around to be like, who the fuck farted? And
You
like,
know.
and Jaden's the one sitting there in his own fucking man scent, just like, yeah, that was fucking me, dude.
That's so fucked up when humans, like when you yourself, you could tolerate your own farts. Like,
Oh, it's great.
yeah, but when it's not your own farts,
And like you'll be proud of them. You're like, oh.
it's a different kind of human.
You're like, that shit was fucking raunch.
Yeah.
Hi, dog. All right, well, let's go ahead
Yeah, I
and
was gonna say, we're gonna
wrap
wrap this
this
up.
up here. Yeah, any final thoughts on your end?
No, not really. I mean, it's just fucking conversation town.
We covered a lot.
I think so. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Like, we'll have to go back, reread, and see if we could link some stuff and like maybe correct some errors that we made and stuff until we get better about this.
Yeah. Well, thank you guys for sitting in on our.
Yeah, we didn't even introduce ourselves. I'm Josh.
Chase. Our introduction is also in the intro song.
Oh, well, is it? Okay, so we don't have to introduce ourselves, but
Yeah. Cool. Well, yeah, thank you guys for tuning in to our first filmed version of Roommate Casting Couch. Hopefully this turned out well and we can continue to do more filmed episodes like this.
yeah.
All right. Well, as always, take care, eat your vegetables, and don't cross railroad tracks while there's a train going by.
Yeah, it's probably good advice.
All right. Thank you guys. We love you.
We love you. Have a good one.